Matt?
So, Mr. President, the railroad industry is a great kaleidoscope of the U.S. economy. If you would take GDP less technology, we almost mirror that with our units per week. And then we actually saw the recession coming in late 2006. We were doing about 775,000 units a week in Class 1 U.S. railroad industry. The low point was 2009. We got down to 550,000. Last week we did 650,000. So without a doubt, you know, and that's week February with bad weather. Without a doubt, we're a lot better than we were in 2009. We're not near as good as we were in 2006. What did we do in 2009? We furloughed tens of thousands of employees. We parked a bunch of locomotives. We parked 500,000 rail cars. So as this thing has started to come back, we've redeployed all those assets. We're going to be hiring a significant amount of people this year. We will have record capital spending of the industry of almost $12 billion. We spend about $80 billion on our highway system in this country. We'll spend almost $12 billion private capital dollars for the railroad industry. So I think that, you know, quite frankly, my belief is the economy is better than what you read, and that you're going to be pleasantly surprised of what U.S. businesses are going to do in the short term of how this thing starts to come back. The tax bill that you all put forth in late year, you know, personally, thank you very much, but the accelerated depreciation expensing was extremely helpful, and I bought more locomotives because of that. So that's the kind of stuff that drives. So, you know, long term, Jeff mentioned, you know, we have some domestic CEOs. I'm a domestic CEO. We're not moving any of our work out of this country. We are here. We cannot move this railroad. So we're here. We're with you the whole time. But I see these companies all over our country that have pulled up plants, pulled up rails, and moved them to different locations. And we're always competing with new plants, Mexico, Canada, China, whatever. And you know, it comes back to, well, short term we're going to focus on jobs. Long term, this whole focus is going to be about the competitiveness of the U.S. worker. And I always just think about, you know, what can we do to make this U.S. worker more competitive? And of course, it starts with education. And then we move to tax policies. I mentioned what we did at the end of the year. It goes to regulation, which you've identified. It goes to long-term energy policy, both affordable and available. And it's those types of things that I think in 10 or 15 and 20 years, we'll look back and say, the U.S. worker can now, is a lean, mean fighting machine and can continue to compete, or the U.S. worker, because of those various issues, just can't compete in the global workforce, because what was once a domestic set of supply chains and a domestic workforce is never again. That horse left the barn. In this group of 309 million Americans is going to be competing against Mexico, China, Canada, everywhere around the world. And we see it. We're moving raw materials to these markets, all in finished products back, and we will never get back our ability to just build and only compete within these borders. And you know that. But when we think about the long-term structural issues we have, that's why I hope we will focus on long-term.